In this edition of 4 Weddings, Lobe and Marriage, each lobe of the brain will attend each other's weddings at one of the venues at the Cerebrum Hotel. They will then rate the overall experience of each wedding. Whoever's wedding is voted the best wins a free honeymoon to the location of their choice. Now let's take a look at what these lobes have planned.
I'm so excited for my wedding. It's going to take place at the top of the Cerebrum. I've recently picked out my wedding dress. For me, how the dress feels is the most important. I fell in love with my dress and decided to buy it when I realized it was on sale for $158.54 less than the original price using my association area for mathematical reasoning. I'm getting married to the somatosensory cortex, and together we want our wedding to appeal to the senses of our guests. Each seat at the reception will be a massage chair.
Wow, the parietal lobe's wedding sounds like a great time, but I'm just not feeling it. I'd rather have my wedding be memorable. After all, I'm the home of the hippocampus, the brain's location responsible for making new memories. I'm marrying the auditory cortex in the bottom of the cerebrum, and we hope to hear the best music of our lives on our wedding night.
I'm the occipital lobe, and I envision my wedding as a feast for the eyes. While the other lobes might be worrying about whether to serve chicken or steak, I'm trying to figure out my color scheme. I'm marrying the visual cortex in the back of the Cerebrum Hotel. At my wedding, I can't wait to recognize everyone's familiar faces.
There are so many choices with weddings, from whether to have a DJ or a band to what centerpieces you should have. I'm glad that a strength of mine is decision making and being proactive. I've already planned every aspect of my wedding, and it's going to take place at the front of the Cerebrum. My fiance, motor cortex, and I are choreographers for a living. We met on Broadway in New York when we had to receive information from the director to carry out movements for each dance. We hope to dance the night away at our wedding. The weddings have all taken place. Let's see what the other lobes thought of the temporal lobe's wedding.
From the looks on the faces of the other guests, I'd give this wedding a 6 out of 10.
It seemed like most of the guests were pleased with the music, but I heard a bunch of white noise. This disappointed me. I'd say the wedding was a 4 out of 10.
The seats at the table were uncomfortable, and I burned my tongue out on the soup. 3 out of 10.
Temporal lobe's wedding scored 4.3 out of 10. Now it's time to rate occipital lobe's wedding. Occipital lobe's wedding was pretty good, but she made a bad choice when she didn't pay attention to her friend's toast. The wedding was a 7 out of 10.
The reception was freezing, but the food tasted delicious. 6 out of 10.
Occipital lobe's vow sounded great, but she didn't seem aware that she was playing bell noises instead of music. No one seemed to notice now that I think of it. 3 out of 10.
Occipital lobe's wedding averaged 5.3 out of 10. The lobes are evaluating frontal lobe's wedding now.
Frontal lobe made some great decisions that were pleasing to my senses. 9 out of 10.
The music was too loud, but I liked the selection of songs. 7 out of 10.
Frontal lobe and motor cortex's first dance was quite the sight. 9 out of 10.
Frontal lobe's wedding averaged 8 out of 10. Now the lobes are rating parietal lobe's wedding.
This wedding was pleasing to my ears, but not that memorable. This wedding wasn't really set apart from the other weddings my hippocampus remembers. 6 out of 10.
Nothing in the decorations department really jumped out to me. 5 out of 10.
My association area was affected during this wedding because I was happy from all the comforts.
Kind of a funny story. Everyone was noticing a middle-aged guy there who was an incredible dancer, but I didn't recognize him.
That guy was at my wedding too.
Same.
You should have asked me. I know who he is. It was Mr. Silverberry.
Now that that's cleared up thanks to occipital lobe, here's what we have all been waiting for. Parietal lobe's wedding averaged 6.3 out of 10. This means frontal lobe wins the honeymoon. Let's see how she feels about this. After revisiting this topic many times, I've decided to decline this honeymoon. I would much rather receive money from an investment in a flight and hotel room and save it for the future.